One of the things I've been reading about, they say that imposter syndrome happens to like 70% of people, but I'd say it's way more than that. It's either that or only 70% of people are doing anything worth a damn that makes them question themselves. Because if you step out on a ledge, you're going to question whether or not you can fly because you're human. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee. I'm your host, Rick Alexander. Maybe you want to take some of this information that we're going to talk about today, or maybe you want to take some of the information that we've talked about over the last year and apply it to your own life and figure out, well, what's your personality like, and how do these things affect you on the ground level, and how are they affecting the way that your life is turning out? If you're interested in doing some of that kind of work, I'll be honest, it's deep work, and you have to face a lot of things about yourself that you might not love. You'll have to ask yourself some uncomfortable questions. But when you're ready to, the Clarity Academy will be ready for you. It's a program that I've started. It's 12 weeks online. And basically, the idea behind it is you'll move through guided lectures and coaching calls, and throughout the whole entire thing, you're going to be piecing yourself apart, dissecting your life, asking yourself who you really are and what you really want. And I've put the program together in a way that guides you to the right answers. So you can find the right answers for yourself, but you have a little bit of encouragement and guidance along the way to make sure that you're being efficient with your time. Again, the next one kicks off on October 14th. So if you're interested in that, just hit me up at @RickAlexander_ or go to rickalexander.com and just click on the Clarity Academy, and there'll be all kinds of information there on the course. One of the things that has come up increasingly in my work in the last 6 months, a lot of my work with clients, is the idea of imposter syndrome. And so I've started looking into it. And one of the things that I'm finding is, first of all, the content that's already out there on imposter syndrome is not very good. It's not very helpful anyway. And so it's something that, admittedly, I'm not 100% great at getting through yet, but it's something that I'm interested in looking to figure out new solutions toward, right? So what imposter syndrome really is whenever you want to do something, you get this thought that comes up, and the thought is, who am I to do this? And if you listen to it, you'll probably end up believing that you're not someone that should be doing that thing. And so in a lot of ways, imposter syndrome keeps us from ever becoming who we could be in the world. And the problem with that is not just that it hurts us, but it hurts the rest of the world, right? Because in a lot of ways, imposter syndrome becomes a way that we can safely play it small. Like, we don't have to go out if we're not the kind of person that could do it. So we tell ourselves we're not, and that gives us the assurance we need to continue to play small. One of the things I've been reading about, they say that imposter syndrome happens to like 70% of people, but I'd say it's way more than that. It's either that or only 70% of people are doing anything worth a damn that makes them question themselves. Because if you step out on a ledge, you're going to question whether or not you can fly because you're human. Right? And so that's something that's really important to know. It's like you're not going through something that other people haven't gone through. Everybody goes through imposter syndrome. Nobody knows what they're doing until they do it, right? And so one of the things that people say is, I just need more experience. It's like when CrossFit first came out on the scene and the CrossFit Games were kind of leading the narrative around that space. One of the things you'd always hear people do is be like, well, I'm going to get in shape and then I'm going to start CrossFit. It's like, what are you talking about? This is the thing, right? You have to go through, you have to get the reps to get the experience. Otherwise it's a trap, right? And you could never actually get there. And that happens with a lot of people. They say like, well, once I get the experience, like maybe then I'll go coach people, right? A lot of people in this new coaching program that Danielle and I have been reaching out and being like, well, I'm really thinking about whether I kind of have the right information or the right stuff to be able to coach people. And it's like, you're not sometimes qualified to help people through what's changed your life, right? You either are or you aren't. And if you're considering it and you have the desire and the curiosity, I would say those are actually the only two things you need, right? Because the desire is going to make sure you keep getting better. And the curiosity is going to make sure that you keep finding new solutions for people, for your clients. Now, I've talked about all of that before, but I wanted to talk about something that maybe you need to hear today, because maybe you're thinking about going out on a ledge, or you already have, and you're already questioning, like, what the hell am I doing out here? The thing that I'd love for you to meditate on is the fact that Rome wasn't built in a day. And so I don't know why it is that we're so worried about not being able to be the emperor right now, right? We're creating something. And as we create something, we're learning who we need to be in order to do it. I think one of the most incredible one of the most incredible documents that we have is of the Stoic philosophies. And one of the things that I like about the Stoic philosophies is that these were people that were teaching themselves how to get through life. When you look at Marcus Aurelius and his work and meditations, it's actually just a journal that they decided to publish. But it was him talking his way through how to be human and at the same time be an emperor. And Rome's not built in a day, right? So you don't need to be the best emperor right now. You need to learn along the way. You need to build a system for reflecting upon what you're learning as you're learning it, right? You can guide yourself into the answers that you need. And in doing so, you can eliminate a lot of imposter syndrome because you can take smaller steps, right? You're putting all your focus on you and you're thinking, well, I can't serve all these people. I can't do all this stuff. It's like, no, but you could serve one person. You could do one thing, right? And as you do that, you begin to extrapolate and you learn lessons. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten is to journal like I'm a Stoic philosopher, as in journal about the lessons I'm actually learning about my life, right? And what I find is that I have deep wisdom buried in my own thoughts, but usually I'm walking around thinking about what bills I have to pay or why, I need to do this to be good enough for other people. And so we don't always reflect on the real deep shit that matters in our lives. But you actually have the answers. You just have to start distilling them. And if you don't have the answers, reality will teach you quick, and then you can get the answers, and then you write the answers down so you don't forget them. And you can kind of be guiding yourself in the way that the Stoics guided themselves, right? You can guide yourself to becoming the emperor, to becoming who you need to be a prosperous emperor. That's probably a better analogy, right? You're building right now, and as you're building, you're learning what you need to learn, so you're engaging with it all. Stop thinking you need to be at the end, right? Now, some of that's coming from comparison, right? Comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so some of it is you're just looking at social media, seeing other coaches that have 1 million clients. They're like, well, I can do that. And it's like, we don't need to. That's not you. One of the things that I'm talking about in this Art of Coaching course is how to build your business model. It's like it can look like whatever you want it to look like. There's no model. There's no way that it has to be. It should look like what is going to get your clients result and how you know how to get them. And so if you coach people in a different way, well, that's something that you want to make sure that you're competent of and taken care of. And so you can constantly be guiding yourself to who you need to be the emperor. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and so you don't need to be it right now. Okay, you need to take your time and do it methodically. But if you do that, you put your focus on the next step, right, and not the end result, then you'll be able to probably push through a little bit of that imposter syndrome, because what you'll realize is with every rep you get, whether it's a failure or success, you're learning exactly what you need to learn. And if you're taking good notes and you're teaching yourself the good lessons, and there's no reason that you can't become whatever it is that you want to be, right? It's methodical. You can't look at the end result and be like, well, I can't do that. It's like, no shit, but you don't need to. You don't get to be that until you've developed yourself into the kind of person that can run that. This is one of the things that I've noticed with my own business, right? Like at first I started the Clarity Academy, and it was a very I really didn't have a lot of resources or anything. I just put the lectures on YouTube. Only now am I moving to having the content dripped out and having another service that takes care of it and me learning how to do it. But I needed the reps, right? I needed the reps with the people. And so in that first Clarity Academy, I put 30 people through it. And throughout the whole thing, I was doing tons of free coaching calls. I was working every single night, literally. I mean, I was working a shitload, doing up to 7 hours of calls in a single day, right? Because I needed to become the kind of person that could be a prosperous emperor, right? As Rome was built, I wanted to make sure that I was the person that could run it, but I had to be that person, and I'd teach myself to be that person along the way. Of course, you get coaches and you get mentors, and all of those things help. But the point is that you don't need to be it right now. And so stop thinking that you do. Stop putting your focus there, because it's only holding you back. It's not actually helping. Put your focus on the next step. Learn what you need to learn. And then every single time you do that, soon enough, you look back and it's like, damn, how did I become the emperor of this place? Well, because you taught yourself how through a methodical structure. Nobody's doing anything overnight. So you got to stop comparing yourself to other people that you think have, because it's only going to stand in your way. Maybe you need to hear this today because you've been focused on the end result, and you don't need to be the person at the end right now, because you're not at the end. You're at the beginning. You need to be the person that's good at the beginning, and that's all you have to be. Any more, any less would be a trap, and you couldn't possibly be enough for it. So that's all the answer could be. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing Monday. We'll talk tomorrow on Morning Coffee.
Johnny was a chameleon when it was predominantly shrapnel from the chapel of the Catman. Johnny kissed the groom and go join the killing while Britain is watching her Watson. Headed down to Tiananmen, but I'd tarry enough time. Should've listened to the world turn. Told me that cheaters are watching, scratch ticket Jesus, insulting the Sultan. But we got an offer, a lesson learned, like kissing cousins, kissing out of turn. But if you're gonna play, you got to play the party lines. Oh, we gon' take back this town if it takes us all. Hey kid, you look like you could be found, but for the moment, we are the fall line. I mind that our time is still marked by the brains. Our intolerance is our lives. A hard fight till we done, till we done, till we done, till we done it. See, United States of discrimination. The schools feed into the prisons. The corporations more powerful than the government. Give a teacher a banker's salary. See how that goes. See if a farmer land again like Kilimanjaro it snows. You sleep in your Egyptian linen 500 cal thread. It's the count of the dead. We are the eye, the needle, fixing the men. The squirt the lies, our lies ripped up on a bed. We're coming in quick and we get into the Davis and the lips and Mandela in our head. We got an offer, a lesson learned. Like kissing cousins, kissing out of turn. But if you're gonna play, you got to play the party lines. Oh, we gon' take back this town if it takes us all. Hey kid, you look like you could be found, but for the moment, we are the fall line. I mind that our time is still marked by the brains. Our intolerance is our lives. A hard fight till we done, till we done, till we done, till we done it. I lost my religion along with my innocence is our lives. Our time till we done, 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 done. Well, at least she got her body. He's a boy named Sue. The Federalist sure ain't no expert on love. Why would we listen to you? Oh, at least we got our bodies. We all are born named Sue. And we'll fight till it's done, that our borders are run, that it's gardens not guns, and life is a no. It was a fight night and the prize fighter got cut like in a knife fight. It was all over the highlights. We got hit by a hard right. Saw stars like light bright, couldn't see any sight line. Started to skydive from the high life like Pele playing highlight. Shout Mayday to his heyday in the pelt mel of Mayday. His corner was getting a payday. Needed Thompson from my line. Turned his guns on his own guys, but it wasn't Molotovs and Mai Tais, just AKs and white lies. 10 miles cyanide to believe in I and you and you were not for an I the cap on your tooth. Then again, I ain't debating and standing in your shoes. I'm just trying to figure out which rule I should choose. We're getting high side on our tie guys, white car crime page, just living the violence. You believe in anything, believe it, occupy, cause it's a rich man's world. We're getting over the sidelines. I mind that our time is still marked by the brains of intolerance is our lives.